Terribly sorry for the delay. Actually, I slept in. That's the reason why I couldn't have this stream starting on the scheduled time. Nilchisman, any doubts about your captaincy choice? At the moment, it's Saka. Still think I'm going to go for Saka. Of course, the safest option would be Erling Haaland, but I said before making my transfers that if I decide to bring in Saka, he will probably be my captain. I really like the fixture. Wolves, one of the worst defenses. Saka rested midweek. Still leaning towards Saka. I will put a poll up. Give me a minute. So, who is your captain at the moment? I think if I had SA in my team, I would probably go for him. Full rest midweek. This is like kind of those fixtures that he usually does well. However, I'm not really tempted by bringing SA in at the moment. I think he can potentially see some rotation for the rest of the fixtures in December, but I'm really considering at least one last transfer ahead of the deadline. Jack, would you rather sell Semenyo to Foden, Minte to Bruno Fernandes, Mateta to Thiago, and Voltmata to Gui, or Mateta to Thiago, Voltmata to Gui, Semenyo to Foden, King to Bruno, And Van Dijk to Konsa. Thanks. Okay, let's break this down. Semenyo to Foden. Just need to break this comment from Jack down. Let's have a look. Semenyo to Phil Foden. I think in your first option, there are actually a couple of players that can do well going forward. I think Semenyo is not necessarily a sell at this point. I know that his output has not been great recently, but I actually think that Semenyo can come good in the next coming fixtures. Of course, Phil Foden, Bruno Fernandes, really tempting options. I think I would try to do something like Mateta to Thiago at least ahead of game week 16. Really like the fixture for Brentford. Thiago, he actually is forward with the best attacking stats, the highest expected goal involvement from the last 4 games. So Thiago, really good option. So Mateta to Thiago, I really like this move, but Old Mother to Guiu. I think I would do that second option, to be honest. Just I don't really see Van Dijk in Liverpool keeping that many clean sheets. If you post your team, head over to X if you're interested. Post a picture of your team. Let's put it up on the screen. That's a possibility as well. Head over to X. It's the same handle as here on YouTube. It's at FPLTFS. Neil Cheeseman. Haaland isn't captain. If he holds, then it would hurt the rank. If Saka holds, what you own him, then hopefully he would still be a positive. Yeah, I agree. I still think that Erling Haaland will be the player with the highest effective ownership in game week 16, even though the fixture is not the best, playing away against Crystal Palace, but he has actually blanked in his last, or 4 blanks in the 5 last fixtures. We all expected Erling Haaland to do well in game week 15 at home against Sunderland, but it would be really, really typical, of course, for Erling Haaland to strike back in what's a bit tougher fixture, playing away against Crystal Palace. So I think it kind of depends on your rank at the moment. If you're satisfied with your rank and your position in your mini leagues, the best option and the safest option would probably be to just captain Erling Haaland. But if you want to take a risk, I think that it's a huge upside in going against Erling Haaland this game week as well. So Saka playing at home against Wolves, the fixture can't be much better. Saka was rested midweek. I think it makes sense to give Saka a go in game week 16, to be honest. So at the moment, I'm leaning towards Saka. What I'm really considering ahead of the deadline is to actually use my last transfer. I have Pakita. Not really satisfied with his performances. I don't necessarily hate the fixture in game week 16 playing at home against Aston Villa, but The thing is that West Ham and Paquetá, it's not the easiest game, of course, playing against Aston Villa, and in game week 17 as well, they have a really tough fixture traveling to the Etihad to play away against Man City. So I'm actually tempted to sell Paquetá, and my replacement would be Rice. Really like the fixture as mentioned for Arsenal playing at home against Wolves. I watched the Man United against Wolves game in game week 15, and Wolves, they did not look great defensively, so I would not be surprised if Arsenal put 4-5 goals past Wolves in game week 16, and having at least a couple of Arsenal players. I'm not really sure if Timber would start. We did not get that much information from Arteta on the press conference yesterday, so Kanji, curious as to why I've seen so many roll. His underlying data doesn't seem to be great, and his numbers and form seem to be that way as well. The reason why I'm going Raul Jimenez, I actually transferred him in yesterday as well. The reason is that his underlying stats is actually not that bad. I think it's 1.20 expected goal involvement. It's not great in comparison. Erling Haaland and Thiago, the top two for expected goal involvement, they have 3.50. Raul 1.20. So I think Raul Jimenez is actually top 10 for expected goal involvements in the last 4 game weeks. So it's not terrible. I think that the reason why people are going for Raul Jimenez is the fact that he will most probably continue starting because they have injuries up front. Muniz, he is injured. So at this point, it's his spot to lose. Value, of course, great price for Raul Jimenez, and I think mostly it's because of the fixtures. So hopefully the fixtures can create some form for the Fulham players. Jack, I think one reason to go against Saka captain is Wolves will sit back, so maybe low scoring game. Yeah, I have actually thought about this. From previous seasons as well, where I've had Saka in my team, when they play against opponents that sits back, it kind of tends to play really, really wide outright. So this is my actually great point from Jack. This is actually one of my worries about captaining Saka in game week 16. But I think that they will break Wolves down. As mentioned, I watched the game against Man United. They did not impress defensively. They tried to sit back in some parts of this fixture against Man United as well, but they didn't really do well. Saka triple captain. I think that if you still have your triple captain, this is probably one of the safest weeks to use it on Saka, mostly because he was rested in the Champions League. So he's in most of the predicted Arsenal starting lineups. So yeah, if you still have your triple captain, I think triple captain Saka in game week 16 is a decent shout, to be honest. So as I talked about some minutes ago, I still think that Erling Haaland, he is probably the safest option, right? He will be the player in game week 16 with the highest effective ownership, but not the best fixture, blanked 4 out of 5 games. But we know that Haaland, he has the potential to score against anyone. But in game week 16, Arsenal playing at home against Wolves, I think this is a really good time to take a punt. Jack, we have the worst defense I have ever seen, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 6-0 to Arsenal. Jack, you're actually, yeah, I can see your profile picture now, a Wolves fan. I think that Wolves, they have a lot of good players, but they haven't really clicked this season. I was actually expecting a bit more from some of their signings, like John Arias. I watched him in the FIFA Club World Cup. Looked like a really, really good player, but he hasn't really adapted into Premier League. But of course, this maybe some of the players just needs a bit more time. Do you reckon Holland in game week 17 is better? So this is like one of the debates when it comes to the triple captaincy. Was like this in game week 13 as well. So really popular strategy was to use either the free hit chip or the triple captain in game week 13. I think that I used my free hit in game week 13, but a lot of FPL managers actually decided to save the triple captainship for game week 17. Erling Haaland at home against West Ham. I think that this is definitely the safest option as mentioned, but at this point, I think I actually like Saka triple captain in game week 16 a bit better compared to Erling Haaland triple captain in game week 17, to be honest. So it all comes down to if you want to take a bit of a risk. So Saka, he will be the punt, while Erling Haaland triple captain in game week 17 is the safest option. In game week 17, Haaland's effective ownership will be really, really high. I think that most managers owning Erling Haaland will give him the captain's armband in game week 17. Who is the best 4.4 defender? Best 4.4 defender, if you don't have to play him in game week 16, I think that probably the Kuiper, the Brighton wingback, can potentially be good value. On some set pieces as well for Brighton. His price has actually gone down to 4.3, so you will save 0.1 as well. It's not that many great options. Van Hecke, he was 4.4, but his price has gone up to 4.5. But I think at this price point, the Kuiper is probably the best option. I think I would consider just going for one of the Sunderland 4 million or Leeds 4 million defenders, especially if you don't need to play them week in, week out. So in my team, I actually have Rodon. I think he's decent, can pick up defensive contribution points, attacking threat as well, and can pick up the occasional clean sheets. Is it worth buying Sabina for 4.4 million for rotation on the bench? Sabina? Sabina. Who is this Sabina? Let's see. Give me a minute. Sabina. Can't seem to find any players named Sabina. Maybe I should get who you're talking about. Are there any injured Burnley players? There are some injuries in the Burnley defense. I know Kyle Walker is out. I think this potentially can be bad for Burnley. Let's have a quick look. Walker is out. Tuansebe is flagged as well. Roberts, Humphries. Hannibal Labry is out as well. Solid midfielder for Burnley. This can potentially affect Burnley, to be honest. They don't have the deepest squad. So having a couple of injuries. So Kyle Walker has been really, really good for Burnley so far this season. With his experience, his pace is still quite good. I watched a couple of Burnley games so far this season, and Kyle Walker has done well, but he will not play in game week 16. So unfortunately, but as expected, we did not get that much information from Arteta on yesterday's press conference. Bit frustrating. I'm not really sure if Timber will play. I'm not sure if I will do the Paqueta to Rice move, but I'm really, really tempted. Paqueta at home against Aston Villa. It's not the worst fixture, but next game week, in game week 17, West Ham have a really tough fixture away against Man City. So I'm really tempted to just sell Paqueta and bring in Rice. That's a shame. I wanted to get cheap Esteve. Guess I'll go Sunderland defenders there. Mukiele best. Yeah, I think he is the best option from Sunderland. My only worry with Sunderland is the fact that they will actually have 10 players traveling to AFCON next game week. I think if I were to select a player from that price point at the moment, it would probably be the Leeds defender Gudmundsson, probably. Especially if you need this player to play in a rotation and not just a bench fodder. I think Esteve at 3.9 is the best fodder, but if you need your defender to play a couple of games, I would probably go Rodon or Gudmundsson. Would you play Guehi or Richards? I think Guehi is the better option, not only because he did well in game week 15, but he has better underlying statistics and a bit better attacking threat. So yeah, Guehi would be my choice. Or use a transfer to get a better defender. I don't necessarily see Guehi as a sell, to be honest. I definitely think that Munoz is a sell because of the injury, but if you have Guehi, so even though the fixture is not the best in game week 16, I think that he is definitely a keep. If you need him to play, just start him. Hope for a miracle clean sheet. I'm not really expecting Crystal Palace to keep a clean sheet against Man City, but he can pick up defensive contributions and he can pick up attacking returns as well. So Guehi, really good value. I don't see him as a sell at the moment. So in game week 16, Erling Haaland, he is the favorite. 55% chance of an Erling Haaland goal, according to the bookies. Arsenal, they are the favorites for clean sheets. Chelsea second, Fulham, they are third. Bit surprising seeing Alexander Isak. The bookies, this is what the bookies usually do. They put players like Alexander Isak, Mo Salah. They always seems to get decent odds, even though the chances of them starting the game is not the best. So thanks. I'm thinking of changing my fifth defender, Diouf, to cover the Palace defenders for this week. My defenders are Timber, Hincapié, Guehi, Richards, and Diouf. 2 free transfers left. Something you can consider with that defense, 2 free transfers, you can do something like Diouf out to bring in a Brentford defender. My favorite is actually Collins, but he is a bit more expensive. He's priced at 4.9, but I think that Vandenberg is a really good option as well. I actually transferred him in last night. Munoz to Vandenberg was one of my transfers ahead of game week 16. So with this defense and considering that Timber actually may not play, could be a good option for you to actually upgrade Diouf. The West Ham defense haven't been great, and Diouf at the start of the season he looked really attacking. Picked up, I think it was 3 or possibly 4 assists in the opening game weeks, but he hasn't really looked that threatening recently, and we have actually seen some rotation after Nuno Espirito Santos was appointed as well, so I don't see Diouf as that great. I actually started this season with Diouf in my game week 1 team, but I think I would prefer having one of the Brentford defenders considering the fixtures. Of course, another option is Anderson. I think if he needs to play this player, I think if you can have this player most game weeks on the bench, I would probably just go Estev 3.9, save some cash. But if you need this player to actually play in some game weeks in a rotation, I would go Vandenberg or Joachim Andersen, the Fulham centre back. Thing is that all of those players, they can pick up defensive contribution and get the extra 2 points, but Fulham and Brentford, they can actually keep clean sheets. Don't really see Burnley keeping that many clean sheets going forward, so if you need this player to play some games, I would invest the extra 0.6 and bring in Vandenberg or Joachim Andersen. So in the captain poll, it's actually Saka in the lead. 89% have voted for Saka, only 11 for Erling Haaland. So Saka is the favorite in the poll. I actually had a similar poll Thursday night. Erling Haaland won this one because of the safety. We discussed it in the chat on Thursday as well. That Erling Haaland, he is definitely the safest option. His effective ownership will be the highest in game week 16 as well. But I think that it's a good game week to go against Haaland, especially if you own Saka. So on penalties, he will most probably play good minutes in game week 16 due to the rest midweek. So I think Saka is a really good option ahead of game week 16. So Phil Foden, he can actually reach 1.4 million transfers in ahead of the deadline. Still some hours left. 11 hours, 55 minutes until the deadline. Can potentially see 1.5 million transfers in for Phil Foden ahead of game week 16. This would break the Jack Grealish record from game week, was it 6 or 7? When do chips reset? In game week 19. So after game week 19, we will get another set of chips. And if you still have any chips left, you have to use them before this game week. So my plan with the second set of chips is to at least wait until we have some more information about the double game weeks. There will be blanks, there will be double game weeks this season as well. We saw last season it wasn't that many doubles and blanks, but there will occur because of the EFL Cup. So we will have blanks and doubles this season as well. It was really close for Crystal Palace to have a double game week this end of the season as well. This part of the season before Christmas. I think it actually was game week 16 that was discussed back in, I think it was the end of October So Crystal Palace, they actually have a lot of games going forward. So that's the reason why they looked at the possibility to delay one of their Premier League games. But this was not possible, so I think Glasner has said that he will rest players in Europe as well, so his priority will be to play a strong team in the Premier League and potentially play a weaker team in the Europa Conference League. So the thing is that with Crystal Palace, they have a really strong starting 11, but when they get a couple of injuries, we have seen that they have been a bit weakened by the injury to Sar. Now Munoz is gone as well. I think if players like Guehi, if he picks up another injury, I think that Crystal Palace actually may struggle going forward. They have a lot of games. And they need to give their key players some rest. Glasner said that Mateta, he was actually a bit fatigued, tired, so this is one of the reasons why I decided to sell Mateta. He hasn't really delivered recently, of course, so he was on the chopping block either way, but considering that he actually is a minute's risk, I think that Mateta is a definite sell. The Mesmic thoughts on Gordon as a pick. I brought him in last week as a 1 week punt, but I like the pick now. Big differential. I really like Anthony Gordon. I talked about him in my team selection video where I discussed the watch list as well. I really like Gordon. He's nailed on for Newcastle on penalties as well, but I think I will wait until game week 18 to bring Anthony Gordon in. So what I'm really considering ahead of the deadline this game week is actually to sell Pakita and bring in Rice. I can potentially do something like Rice to Anthony Gordon in game week 18 actually. Hello my friends, how are you? All good, all good. How about you? I actually planned to have this stream a bit earlier, but managed to while putting my kid to sleep, I actually slept in. So this is why this stream is at a bit regular time. I usually do those streams a bit earlier, but it is what it is. So thanks all for joining in. 11 hours 49 minutes until the FPL deadline. So I usually do a Q&A the night before the deadline. Slept in last night, so this stream is actually like 5 hours later than it usually is. But if you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate it if you give the stream a like, and of course subscribe to the channel if you want to join more of those streams. I always have a Friday night Q&A, and I post weekly team selection videos as well. Almost 2 a.m. here. So I'm actually living in Norway, and right now it's actually almost 3 in the middle of the night. So It's almost 3 o'clock in the middle of the night in my country at the moment. So the reason why I'm actually awake is the fact that I slept in. I had a plan to do this stream last night, but slept in. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I was actually not that tired because I got like 5 hours of sleep. Don't forget that Mo Salah is better than Erling Haaland. Don't forget the most important thing. I really like Mo Salah, to be honest, but at this point in 2025, my votes would actually go to Erling Haaland, not only because he's Norwegian. I think that he is the better player at this point, but no disrespect to Mo Salah, great player. I think that I'm not really sure what's going on over at Liverpool at the moment. Price changes happened 10 minutes ago. Price changes happened 10 minutes ago. I'm usually asleep, as mentioned, so 2:30. Yeah, of course. Price changes happen in the middle of the night. I'm usually not awake while price changes happens, to be honest, but hopefully I'm not priced out of my planned transfer. We'll have a look. So Pakita, he is still 5.9. No drop in price for Pakita. So at least I checked this. Rice, he was not expected to go up, while Pakita was not expected to go down. But we have had a couple of unexpected price rises, like Calvert-Lewin on Wednesday. All of a sudden, his price went up. But let's have a quick look if I can make my pre-planned move, or if I'm actually priced out. So Pakita out, Rice in. Still a possibility. I'm a bit worried about Rice and the fact that he has been ill. As usual, not that much information from Arteta in the press conference. Bit frustrating, of course. Did you watch the Madrid versus Man City match when Rudiger went crazy and grabbed Haaland? I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights and I watched that episode on Reels or Shorts, something like that. Rudiger, he did a couple of things in that picture that was like, he is a bit crazy. Captain Thiago, I actually talked about captaining Thiago in my team selection video ahead of game week 16. So I posted this video like 4 days ago. I said in this video that Thiago actually was my favorite captain ahead of game week 16. I think it's a good game week to go again. After I decided to bring in Saka, I have decided to give him the armband as well. I talked about this in the same video that if I decide to bring in Saka, he will probably be my captain. And at the moment, he is. You think Collins can get any attacking returns? Yes, I really like Collins. He has really good attacking stats, and he has the potential to pick up defensive contributions as well. So I really like Collins, priced at 4.9, solid option. I was actually really tempted to bring in Collins as my Munoz replacement, but on Thursday on the Q&A, I actually decided to go for Vandenberg. The reason why I went Vandenberg priced at 4.5 instead of Collins is the fact that with the 0.4 saved, I actually have enough funds to upgrade Pakita to Rice. So I will probably be a bit annoyed if Collins does well going forward, because he is my favorite Brentford defender. But as mentioned, I went Vandenberg because of the price and the fact that this will allow me to do this move. So I actually have Pakita in my team, 7.1 million. So if I did Munoz to Collins, I would not afford Rice. So I think I should just go ahead and confirm this transfer, right? Of course, Rudiger is gay because he doesn't leave Holland. Yeah, he was getting kind of close. I think I've seen this with Rudiger earlier as well. Trace. I think it's kind of a mind game thing as well. Trying to be physical to try to get your opponents out of balance, both mentally and physically. I think I will just confirm my transfer, my last transfer. This means I actually have used all of my 5 transfers ahead of game week 16. So I sold Mateta to bring in Raul Jimenez. I've sold NGI to bring in Phil Foden. And I actually sold Munoz to bring in Vandenberg. Saka is in as well. And my last transfer will probably be Rice. I'm a Muslim and you. So in Norway, it's not a Muslim country, so it's Christianity that is the main religion in Norway, but not really that religious personally. Let's just confirm this transfer. Okay. Okay. So all 5 free transfers used ahead of game week 16. Mini wildcard for me. I have 2 flagged players, hoping that at least one of them will play. So I sold Mateta to bring in Raul Jimenez. I sold Mbumo to bring in Foden. I've sold Njai to bring in Saka, Pakita to Rice. And Munoz, he has been sold to bring in Vandenberg. So all my 5 free transfers are gone. But I think the team looks good. So if Rice does not play in game week 16, I will have Anderson, the Nottingham Forest midfielder, to come in. So I think this is decent cover. The reason why I have Van Hecke before Rodon on my bench is the fact that I don't really want Rodon to play against Thiago, and I think Brentford will do well against Leeds. At least I don't have any Liverpool attackers, so hopefully Van Hecke, if I need him in game week 16, hopefully he can do well against Liverpool. I'm not expecting big things from Brighton defenders in game week 16, but Van Hecke is ahead of Rodon on my bench in game week 16. So my team for game week 16, I will have Sanchez, I will have Van de Ven in defense playing against Nottingham Forest. This is one of the reasons why I have Anderson on my bench. I don't really want Van de Ven and Anderson to play against each other. So my new signing, Vandenberg in defense. Timber, hopefully he will be fit to play in game week 16. Same goes for Rice. Really good fixture for Arsenal, and hopefully I will have Arsenal triple up in game week 16. I brought in Phil Foden as well, really good form. I think that this is the time to bring in Phil Foden. So he's kind of hot and cold, but at the moment he's definitely hot, and he can potentially do well against Crystal Palace. So Saka, my captain, and I have Bruno Fernandes. Home game against Bournemouth, I think he can continue delivering. Up front, Thiago, Erling Haaland, and Raul Jimenez playing against one of the worst defenses. So hopefully this will be another green arrow for me in game week 16. Research Islam more and you find out that your religion is perverted. Many people are modifying the Bible in your Christian faith, and you're free to do so if you want to research Islam further. Yeah, maybe I'll look into it. Sorry if my question upsets you. No worries. All good. Let me know if there are any more questions ahead of game week 16, and I will try to answer. So as mentioned, this stream has actually been delayed like 5 hours. It was meant to be on a Friday night. I usually have Friday night Q&As, so if you're interested in that, subscribe to the channel. The reason why this stream is a bit later than usual is actually the fact that I slept in while putting my kid to bed. Woke up in the middle of the night. It's 3 o'clock in the middle of the night in my country at the moment, but woke up, had 5 hours of sleep, so decided just to start the stream. Of course, a bit delayed. Sorry for any inconvenience, but it is what it is. So I had made all the graphics and stuff like that, so it was just ready to push the button and go live. Would you get any Liverpool? The thing is that after the Gakpo injury news, I actually think that Wirtz could become a solid option once again. Not once again, but he hasn't really been a solid option all season, but he has at least been talked up but I think that at some point he will start delivering some attacking returns in the Premier League as well. And I think that he will get good minutes. Definitely a punt, but yeah, I think Liverpool, they are probably a wait and see. So I like Van Dijk, of course, nailed on a really big threat at set pieces, but it's probably a bit too expensive at the moment. So Konate is probably a better option, but then again, we won't have the same attacking threat as with Van Dijk. I think Soboslai is decent as well, but he's on 4 yellow cards. This is a bit of a worry. So if Soboslai picks up another yellow card before game week 19, he will get a 1-match suspension. So I think there are some good arguments for going for those players, but there are other options as well. So I talked about players like Anthony Gordon. My plan is to have a look at West Ham and Newcastle players from game week 18. And I think Liverpool, they are probably in the same category, a bit of a wait and see at the moment. Because Islam is the right path for any good person. I think it's probably a lot of good personalities. That's not solely based on religion, but as mentioned, I'm not really that into religion myself personally, but I know that there are a lot of people that spend a lot more time on those things compared to me, but 11 hours 30 minutes until the deadline. I've used all my 5 free transfers ahead of game week 16. I think the team looks good on paper. Of course, I have 2 yellow flags, Timber and Rice. Hopefully, at least one of them will start. Actually, 10 minutes ago, I transferred in Rice. I sold Pakita, hoping that Rice can do well against the Wolves at home. My captain at the moment is Saka. Please go vote in the poll. Saka, he is the favorite, 70%. 13 for Hallen, 13 for Thiago as well, while other 4%. So only a couple of votes on another captain option than Hallen, Thiago, Igor, and Saka. Hi mate, Sunset, best to cheap third strike. Best cheap third striker option, please. I think that Raul Jimenez is a really solid option for the upcoming game weeks. And of course, this is the reason why I actually did Mateta to Raul Jimenez a couple of days ago. The reason is that he actually has decent attacking stats, so he's not in the same category as Igor Thiago and Erling Haaland, but he's on penalties for Fulham, and Muniz is injured, so he will continue starting most probably. Really good fixtures, especially in game week 16, playing against Burnley, so I'm really hoping that Raul Jimenez can deliver. We actually had a price rise for Calvert-Lewin as well, so he is a punt, of course, but he's kind of in the same category. I just think that Fulham, they are actually a really good team. So I like Harry Wilson as well from Fulham as well, but I think that Raul Jimenez is always in and around the box. So with a bit of luck, he can potentially be a good asset to own in the next game weeks. Raul Jimenez will get injured in the first 10 minutes because you brought him in. Yeah. So this would be really typical FPL, right? He has actually done well recently. Let's have a quick look. So the fixtures for Raul Jimenez: Burnley, Nottingham Forest, and West Ham. Let's see. So really good minutes for Raul Jimenez. There we go. Since he started to play regularly, he had 90 minutes in game week 8, 90 minutes in game week 9, 71, 57, and then back-to-back 90 minutes in game week 12 and game week 13. 73 minutes and then 90 minutes against Crystal Palace in game week 15. One goal, 3 assists, expected goal of 1.30. So he has actually been a bit unlucky in the last 4 game weeks, but the fixtures haven't been the best since game week 11. They played away at the Goodison Park against Everton. They are solid at home. Sunderland, they have surprised us. Tottenham, they can put up a solid defensive performance as well. And then they had Man City and a solid Crystal Palace in game week 15. But the fixtures are getting much better for Fulham in game week 16 and onward. So they have Burnley, they have Nottingham Forest, they have West Ham. And this is why I'm taking a punt on Raul Jimenez. I have my free hit and triple captain left. When should I use it? Any idea? I think if you have Bukayo Saka this game week, I think, as mentioned, Saka in game week 16 could be a decent punt with the triple captain. I think the safest option would be to go Erling Haaland against West Ham at the Etihad in game week 17. So it kind of depends on your rank and your position in your mini leagues at the moment. As mentioned, if you want to play safe, the safest option will definitely be Erling Haaland triple captain in game week 17. If you want to take a bit of a risk, Saka at home against Wolves in game week 16 is a solid option as well. Saka will get 4 points by captain. Whoever has Haaland should make him triple captain in game week 17. Yeah. The free hit, I think that the free hit is a bit easier to like. You can play it in game week 18, 19. It doesn't really care that much which game week you use the free hit because you will get your old team back. So have a look at your team, check if you have any game weeks before game week 19. So it's game week 16, 17, 18. You can play it potentially in game week 19 as well. So try to check if you have any game weeks where you have a lot of your players play against each other and play the free hit this game week. So I think game week 17 will actually be a good game week to use the free hit, but if you still have your triple captain left, Erling Haaland is probably the best option. I haven't really looked at the potential game week 18 free hit team yet, but I've actually made the graphics for a game week 17 free hit video, and I will record this during the weekend, and it will be out possibly on Sunday or Monday. So if you're interested in watching this, subscribe to the channel. So let's have a look at the dates for the upcoming deadlines real quick. We'll have another midweek. So game week 16, Saturday deadline. Game week 17, Saturday deadline. Game week 18, can potentially see some rotation in game week 18 and game week 19. So there are a lot of deadlines coming up. So potentially just, let's see, the deadline is on Friday 26th, but most games are played on Saturday 27th. So between game week 17 and game week 18, most of the teams will actually have 1 week rest. So I think game week 18, I think this probably would be my game week for the free hit. Okay, end the live stream, go to sleep. You must be tired. It's actually really, really late in my country. It's in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock. I fell asleep way earlier than I usually do. Actually, I had planned to do this live stream like close to 6 hours ago, but slept in, woke up, started the stream. Bit unusual time, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you want to join my next one, subscribe to the channel. Best of luck for game week 16. I will take the advice and end this stream. We have been live over 1 hour at this point. So if you have any last game week 16 question, let me know in the chat. The time in Egypt right now is 4:11 a.m. AM, not really that into the AM PM thing. AM is that daytime or night. I always tend to mix those up after midnight, past midday. don't really use this system in my country. So this means that at the moment it's actually 3:14 a.m. in the morning. When are you coming to Egypt so I can treat you to a meal here? It would be lovely traveling to Egypt on a vacation. No plans for me to travel to Egypt at the moment, but maybe sometime in the future. Egyptian food is among the best in the world. Yeah, I believe you. Norwegian food is not really that known internationally. I think in Norway it's probably Italian food that's the most popular, like pizza, pasta, stuff like that. Some Mexican food as well. But as mentioned, if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. I always have Q&As the night before the deadline. When I have the time, I have deadline streams as well, but I'm actually going to a football tournament tomorrow, so no time for a game week 16 deadline stream. But if you're interested, subscribe to the channel for weekly Q&As. I post weekly team selection videos as well. So if you're interested in watching those, that would be really, really appreciated. I talk about the captaincy in my game week 16 team selection video. So in this video, I'm actually talking about Thiago, but I'm also mentioning that if I decide to bring in Saka, he will probably be my captain. And this is where I'm at the moment. Saka, my captain, Anderson, Van Hecke, Rodon on the bench. All transfers used. Hopefully game week 16 will bring another green arrow. Thanks all for joining in. Best of luck for game week 16 and how are you doing? One, all good. I'm actually wrapping up this stream a bit later than usual, but my plan was actually to have this stream last night, but slept in, so a bit later than usual. So I was starting to wrap the stream up. Thanks all for joining in. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join the next one. Good luck for game week 16 and have a nice weekend.